Nice. Hello and welcome to AirConf 2014. Today we have Arunoda Susiripala looking to talk a little bit about client-side error tracking in JavaScript and Meteor. You can work with Arunoda at airpair.me/Arunoda. Arunoda is one of the most active community contributors in the Meteor community. He is building Kadira, which is a performance monitoring service for Meteor. He's also the author of Meteor Hacks and managing quite a variety of open source projects. We're really excited to have him here today to learn about all things client-side error tracking. And yeah, so let me introduce you to Mr. Susiripala.
Okay.
Take it away.
Okay, right. Okay, then okay guys, thanks for coming to the first presentation. And let's try to go share my screen first. Okay. Can you guys see the screen? Yeah, cool. All right. So
Yes.
So I think I'm working with a project called Meteor Hacks. It's a kind of research center for the Meteor. So we try to hack Meteor in different way and try to get something more out of it. So we're doing projects, tutorial, and hacks, a lot of things. And Kadira.io is our other project. So it's a performance monitoring service for Meteor. So this is the context for our talk today. So we have recently integrated an error tracking system into the Kadira. So then we go through all the technologies available when you're tracking client-side errors, and then we try to bring it to the single interface. So that's the place. Then now we're trying to explore about these client-side error tracking and share the experience we gain to you guys. Right. So this is what we're gonna do. We try to understand how we're gonna track errors locally in our development environment, and then we try to how we can track errors in the production with the minified code and how to do that one. And then after that, we try to look at some of the better options we can track errors. Okay, so this is our demo application. It's in Meteor, so don't worry about if you don't know Meteor. It's a simpler template. It's a client-side template. Inside that template, there's a button. So once you click on that button, so you ask something from the server. You ask to get some tweets, and then after tweets come to the client side, you try to display it to the console. But in this code, there's a problem because you're trying to log the console into the console log called data.tweets, but unfortunately the argument is say date. This is a common mistake I do most of the time. So this is going to throw an error. So that's what we're trying to capture in this all the presentation with different contexts and different scenarios. So let's try to track our error in our development machine. So this is now I have this. So this is the template I have shown you. Then I can open the browser console like this. Okay, I can expand this a little bit. I can go to the console, so I can clear the existing stuff and I can get the error. So now I have the error. So now data is not defined. Then I can go to the line number. I can add a breakpoint. This is not normal way we're trying to capture an error. So I can replay the error. So now I have here, and now I can inspect all the arguments and find out that's exactly the reason for this error. I think this is the normal way we are trying to capture errors. So we can skip this one. Then we can go to the next slide. So here, what we're trying to talk in here is asynchronous stacks and how it works in errors. So normally, I show you a couple of codes. The first one, inside the button, you try to throw an error, and then In the other code, inside the button, now we have set timeout, and then we try to get an error. So let's see the difference between these two. The first one, so now I have the whole stack. Now I have the button, all the anonymous function, all the other stuff, like inside the function, all the underlying stuff. So now by looking at this stuff, I can grab the reason for this error. But if I click this one, it's asynchronous error in this one. Okay, so what we can get is just only one line. So I only have one information. That's the, if I go to the line number, what I can see is, so it's just only showing me this line, nothing else. So this is the nature of JavaScript, because you're always doing asynchronous stuff, like you're talking to some server, you're working with event handlers, so everything is asynchronous. But unfortunately, errors can't work in this asynchronous way. If you got some StackTrace, it's only showing you the current level of stack, so you can see all the stuff. So then what we're trying to do is, there's a nice feature available in Chrome called asynchronous tracks. So what we can try to do is, we can again get the error by doing that. I can go to this line number, I can add a breakpoint, and there's a button called async. There's a checkbox called async. I can click on the checkbox. I can try to get the error again. Now I have more information. Now you can see in the first line I have this line, and then go to the other stack. So I have the full information of where the error came from. So I have the more information. I can figure out the reason and get some reasoning about this one. So this is only available in Chrome right now. I think Firefox is also working on something similar. So this is how we can work with asynchronous errors in local development environments. Now let's go to the next one. So if your code is minified, I think it's really hard to find the issue. So I think you don't need to tell about that one, because in the minified code, it's just like single piece of string. We can't find out the reason. Then let's get the error. So I can go to the line number like this. It's completely the bunch of errors available here. I can't understand anything. But still, now in the Chrome, there's a nice feature. You can click this pretty pin button, and you can get some understanding about what's happening here. Now you can see I can get the line number. So it will on the fly unminify the code and get the line number, and I can figure out the error and do some fix. Okay, so there's something about source maps. I think have you guys heard about that one? Source maps, right?
No, I have not.
Okay. Source map is something like even though you have the unminified code, its source map is a way to get reference for your actual code. But unfortunately, it's not lightweight. So let's say if your original minified code is around 1 MB, then source map will be around 5 MB. Like it's not going to use in a production application, but still it's something good for the development. So since it's not going to work in the production pretty well, so we are not going to discuss about the source map in this presentation. Then, so now we have go through all the development stuff, then how we track the errors in development and find out the reason. So now let's try to see how we can get our track our error in production. For that one, we're trying something like this, because the error is happening on the user's browser, so we don't have access to the browser console and we can't debug that one. And our user is something like our grandma, so we can ask her to go to the browser console and get the error and copy it to somewhere else. So, and for the ease of use, our code is not minified. Okay, the first thing we can try to catch the error through window.onerror. So it's something like, let's say, so I can get something code like that one. I can add a hook called window.onerror. Then I can capture the error like this. So then there's a function called report error. Then I simply add that function. Then I can log the error to the console. In a actual scenario, you can send this error to the something on your server. So let's try to see this error happening on our actual browser. Okay, I think this is the same code available earlier. I can clear the existing errors. Okay, so now I have the actual error here, but this is where I cache through the our window.error. In the line number first, so in first line, I have the actual error message, then the file, and then I have the line number, and I have the reference to the actual error. So this is really good, and we can track the error in a remote manner. So let's get to this is the error. It's happening on the Chrome. This is how we can see it. So in Firefox, you get the same result. You get the error message, an actual file, line number, and so on. And in Safari, so you can only get the error message, line number, sorry, the file name, and all the line number. And in IE as well, you can get something similar to this one. But see, if you talk about some other browsers like older version of IE and Firefox, you can't get the actual error stack here. You can only get this one, error message, file name, and the line number. So you can actually figure out the reason for the error pretty easily with this window error, because we can't have access to the StackTrace. Okay. So then next option we have in production is we can track errors manually. So what we can do is we can add a try catch block to a code, and then catch the error and report it back. So then I think I don't need to show this to the console because it's pretty straightforward. Even I can sell. So I can track the error here. It's pretty easy. Then I have the access to the actual stack. Then I can do whatever things with this error. I can send it to somewhere else. But this is the same code. I try to wrap it into the timeout, so I can get the error again. But unfortunately, okay, now I can't catch the error. So it's throwing is unquoted. So this is the normal error you saw in the browser console, but it's not available to our report error function. The reason is, so this is an asynchronous error. So in order to catch this error, I need to put the try catch block inside the set timeout, not the outside. So my point is, if you want to try catch and catch all your errors, then you have to find all the places where an error can be happening in your code, and wrap all your code with try catch and track the error and send somewhere. So the problem is, this is not something going to work, because it's really hard to wrap each and every code in your application with try catch. Okay, even if you work with try catch, there's a problem. That means different browsers have different version of StackTrace. So this is what is available in Chrome. Okay, I can zoom it. So it's kind of okay. Now we have the the place, the button, and the line number and file name and like that. So if we go to the Firefox, it's kind of ugly. So still you have all the information, but it's in a different format. So I can go to the IE. So something nice. IE is something similar to the Chrome. It's good. And then I can go to Safari. It's something similar to the Firefox. So this is the issue, because even though we can get the StackTrace, different browsers have different way of interpreting the StackTrace. So in order to get a clear view, we need to know each and every way how the reference, how we can understand each of these. But fortunately, okay.
I just have one question. Do you also do the same thing in IE, or do you just do Safari and Chrome?
No, I need to do IE as well.
Okay, cool.
Okay, and there's a website called Browser Stack. So then you can So it's a kind of a, you can easily get all the availability of browsers. Then we have all the versions of IE, we have all the version of Firefox, Chrome, and everything. It's a browser stack. I can share it on the chat box. How we can do it? All right, I'm not sure. All right, I can share it on the later on the presentation. Okay, and there's a solution for this one. It's called StackTrace.js. So StackTrace.js is very simple. Okay, it can get all the errors, error formats, and go to the simple this StackTrace.js file, and you can get a simple unified format of your stack. So it's really easy to understand because now you have only one format. So it's available for in GitHub. It's a really good maintaining project. Right. So then we can say, okay, inside the production, you have no access to the asynchronous stack. You can open your browser console and you can go to the debug and capture your errors. So you have no access to the asynchronous stacks in your production environment. So these are the issues in production environment with client-side errors. So window.onerror is working, but it's limited for the modern browsers. But actually, our users might be coming from the different version, IE, Firefox, and like that, because so window.onerror is partially working on those browsers. So we can track errors manually with try-catch, but that's not going to work in a longer way because so we can't wrap our code in try-catch. And then we have no access to the asynchronous stacks, so it's really hard to find out the place because so one code piece could be executing from different places. So we have no flow of way how we can figure out the error. So then these are the issues. Let's try to figure it out how we can fix these issues in a different way. It's called a project called zone.js. This is a project initiated by Angular team. So recently, I think around 4 to 3 months back. So what the zone.js is something called execution context. So like, okay, I'll explain a little bit. That means so it's a context. Then I can put all the code inside that context, and I can track all the errors and all the stuff within this context. So I have full control over all these execution parts. This is how we can use this zone.js to tracking the errors. Right. So now let's try to do a demo. So now I have the same code, the functionality. So now I'm trying to throw an error in my JavaScript code, but I'm wrapping that code inside something called zone.run. So what I'm trying to do is I can add a reporter here, so I can capture all my errors like this. So this is something similar to the window.onerror, but something gonna work. So we have a lot of way to do this. This is the first step. So I can close this one. I can go to the next screen. We can try the demo. So I can get tweets. Okay. So now page reloading. I can track the error like this because it's capturing from here. So I'm console logging this one. Now, so error is happening here. Now I have the full access to my error using this report. Okay. This is the SOM is becoming handy. Now I'm throwing the asynchronous error. So my error is throwing inside the set timeout. I can still capture the error using this reporter. So I can close this one. I can go to the page. I can get together. It's reloading the iframe inside the presentation. So I can capture this one. So this is the nice feature of zone.js. Now we don't need to worry about trapping all my code using try-catch. Now I can add a single reporter and I can do whatever the place things inside this in function. I can track errors. So you can integrate this into your own framework level, and you don't need to worry about using this code as well. So I'll try to show it later on. Right. And there's another tool coming with zone.js project called long StackTrace. So by doing that we can get a really nice view of what's the error. So I'll show you. So this is our code. Okay, so inside the button, so when I click the button, so it inside the set timeout, and it will throw the error. Now I can see all this one with this long StackTrace. Okay, I'll expand this. I'll get the error here. Now I have the original error message here. Now I have the time difference between the 100 milliseconds inside the set timeout. So I have the event like now Now I have all the information available. It's a asynchronous StackTrace. So it even has the information about when the file is loaded, and after that, like that, you can analyze your stacks and easily find out the issue like this. So now we don't need to have this Chrome debugging tool to identify the actual cause for the error. So now it says now my error is happening in the button click. So that's what we need. Right. So let's try to use zone.js with a minified code. Now the zone.js is the ideal solution for us in tracking errors on production, but let's try to do it with minified code. The same example. I can capture the error, but this time I still get the asynchronous stack, but this code is minified, so I really can't get much more information from this. Still, I can go to the code stack and find out the issue, but it's not good because it's minified and the line numbers doesn't matter. So even with the zone.js with minified, so we can't get something out of it. So now what we're going to do is let's try to think differently. So in order to fix an issue, what you really need. So do you need StackTrace or do you need something else? Actually, you need these things. You need the actual error message, and then you need the context of the error, what's the browser and URL and IP address and so on. And then you need some of the set of actions happen inside this error. That means how this error is happening. So that's the button the user click, and what are the RPC call, what are the AJAX request that he requested, like that. So if you have all those information, then I can easily fix the issue without the StackTrace, even with minified code. So this is an example for that one. In Kadira.io, so we're working with the error tracking system. So this is the error report we are having. So now we have we can clearly see the error message on the top. Now we have the context here, browser, the URL and IP address and so on. Now this is the interesting part. Now we have the whole list of event occurred inside my browser, inside my error stack. I have the information like inside this home page template. I'm clicking this button, and inside that button I'm calling to the method call test method. This is the RPC call. Then inside the response of that one, I'm getting an error. Now I have all the information. Now it's really easy to find the place to where the error happens and fix it. So how we did it? So we did it with the extending zone.js and the extending meteor core itself. So we try to wrap all the meteor.call methods, and we're trying to set an action like just something happening inside like this. So we add this functionality to the zone.js, and we are wrapping one of the most common places users are using with Meteor. So that's how we can get something like this. And this project is open source, available at meteorhack/zones, and so it's something related to Meteor, but still you can see how we extend zone.js and how we integrate this functionality, and you can use it with your own browser, your own framework, or your own application. Right. Okay. Okay, sure. Please.
I'm trying to find a flow that I would use to help the client to debug on his own browser side, and and how to actually guide an interactive tutorial to the client to make this on his own device, on his own environment.
Sorry, one second. Arunoda, can you maybe switch back to video?
Okay, sure. Okay.
Sure. Thanks.
I forgot that. Okay.
Go ahead, Martin.
Okay, so the question was that how should I instruct a client, a customer, customers to do these steps on their end? I don't know the browser, but I can instruct that they should try at least on Chrome and Firefox.
Okay.
And what shall they do to be able to send me the errors that are happening on their context?
Okay. So the first thing you can do is you can ask your customers to open the console, and then you can ask him to capture the error and send it to you using some chat or somewhere. But there are some tools available in the, I think, so they can capture your own errors and you can send it to their own servers. There are some of the commercial tools available, services available. I can't exactly remember the products like track.js or something similar. Then so you can track the errors using those tools. So you can ask your customer to capture the error. Then you can ask him to open the console and copy the StackTrace and send it to you.
And further on margin of this question, there are sometimes cases when remote debugger is used. How that affects this kind of error tracking when remote debugger is in use?
Okay. If you can have remote debugger, it's really easy to do. But the remote debugger is pretty simple. But using a remote debugger, you can access the user's browser on your own machine. Then you can find out the steps to identify it. So there are remote debuggers available, like I can't exactly remember the names. Then I can add them to the comment section.
Yeah, is there an example of one that you know maybe we could just look at real quick? Maybe we just Google that and just find one real quick, and maybe you could show us, maybe share your screen and just show us how that works.
Right. Okay. Right. I think So I got it. So there's something called ngrok.
I'm not speaking of ngrok. I'm speaking of remote debugging, like the client has an intranet, that a company that's not open on internet, and they test a certain application on a smart TV or on an iPad or something like an Android device, and you can do in Chrome, for example, remote debugging of a JavaScript console like a smart TV or Android or some smart device, not actually a native browser, but that's a browser itself. And I want to track the errors happening on that device. And I'm sure that you are able to track the errors. Just the problem is that since it's intranet, I don't have physically access, and I remote desktop access to the location, and I need to instruct the customer to be able to do it for me and to transmit in a way that it helps me to find the code. So this actually is the edge case that I'm after to find a solution that I can use as a developer.
Okay, I think then you can use there's a tool called Browser Stack. Okay, Browser Stack is that means you can install some kind of thing. Once you use that one, you can use a start local testing or something called local testing. Then you can test your internal URL. You can put your internal URL here and start testing. And there are some couple of other services available. Something like it's called I don't know, Testling or something like Testling, maybe.
Also, Arunoda, do you want to move your camera down slightly? It's kind of like a little bit. There you go. Perfect.
Okay. Then there's another tool called Testling. It's called BrowserLink. So it's a post-browser testing tool. It has something like a proxy, like a tool. Then you can do it like. So I'm not exactly sure how we can use this one, but there's a tunneling service available in this browser link as well. So then you can use your So other than that, you can use something tools like TeamViewer or maybe Skype even. I'm not sure actually.
What does Martin does that help, or do you have more questions from there? They're good. Okay. Cool.
All right, I can.
And we also had a new person join us. Ajay, do you have any questions, or yeah, if you have any questions, just let us know.
Okay.
Okay, great. Arunoda, do you want to continue on?
Yeah, okay. I'll go to my presentation. All right. So I talk about there's something Sound.js, but still it's not something free. That means it's open source. But the problem is, so it's try to run all your code inside a try catch block. So it's really smart, and it try to wrap all your internal methods and try to run all your code inside the try catch blocks. By doing that one, the Chrome browser has an engine called V8 engine. That's the way all the JavaScript is executing. So we try to optimize the code and try to get more performance. But if your code is running inside the try catch block, V8 can't optimize. So if you're using the Sound.js, and then even with the if you have the Sound.js and you have a pretty rich application which is having a lot of animations and a lot of documents, so this is gonna cost you a little bit in performance, right? Then my option is you can try to do it with your own performance test and find out the reason, find out the way this is gonna work for you or not. And that's it. That's it for my presentation on error tracking and like that. I think if you have any questions, then I can go back to the slides and we can discuss.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. Yeah, I guess, Martin, do you have any questions to start with, or do you have any more questions? Right. Awesome. I guess generally, for someone who's starting out, where do you think they should start? Like, are there any good tutorials and just like understanding just the basic stuff? I mean, how do you expect, or how do you suggest people to learn?
You mean error tracking or something?
Yes.
Something, right. I think I really don't have something available right now. I think I can share it in the comment box. I think yeah, I can find out. Right. Yeah.
Good. And then just in terms of common errors, it seems like just like getting some kind of typos or like things that are figuring out the reason why something is not connecting to the server. That is that kind of the common error that you find most?
No, actually, the errors is different because sometimes users try to do something Ajax error, something similar, and there are a couple of errors like you try to sometimes what's happening on the development is not available, context is not available on the production. Some code, some of the data coming to the server is not right because user might, and there are some of the typos and there are a lot of things.
Okay. And then just generally, it seems like a lot of and I'm just wondering, like, why is it that the other browsers are not as good for debugging? Like, why is it that Chrome is such a good debugger tool?
No, actually, the Firefox is also having some similar tools, and the IE as well. But the Chrome is trying to be the ahead of everything. That's what I'm thinking. But still, Firefox is
yeah, sure. So it's more of a personal preference, you're saying?
Yeah, kind of. Yes.
Okay, great, cool. Okay, well, I mean, thank you so much. I'm going to go back to our little slide here. So this has been let's see here, let's share that. Go there, and we're going here. Okay, so this has been a great talk from Arunoda Susiripala, and you can always work with him at airpair.me/Arunoda on client-side error tracking. So we really appreciate his time for today. Later on today, we have a keynote starting at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, so that's in about 2 hours from now, on engineering versus entrepreneurship, and then at 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time today, we have Peter Armstrong with Why Developers Should Publish Books, and then from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time is Dominic DeNicola, who's going to be talking about building web applications from reusable pieces with NPM. So thank you very much for Arunda, and yeah, thanks so much for your time, and let's just give a big round of applause for Arunda.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.